100% platinum, baby.
OBP, yeah, Panther, Free Jazzy Tuck, yeah, Genie. Here's a little something about an OG like me, yeah. I'm him, yeah, I'm me, yeah. Here's a little something about an OG like me. South Dallas, Borland, Bear Street, Door Street, yeah. Here's a little something about an OG like me. East Side, Rub City, East 21st Street, yeah. Here's a little something about an OG like me. Got the mind of a genius, but I'm straight for the streets, yeah. First thing I like to say is rest in peace, Pokey. Heard a lot about me, baby, you don't really know me, no. Talk a lot of this and that, but boy, you gotta show me. I ain't looking for nobody, pay me if you owe me. Make a lot of sense, everybody gotta listen. Rock with Donald Trump, why? Cause I'm a politician. Never did a lot of wishing, but I did a lot of whipping. Whole lot of dollar getting, pressing potty in my kitchen. In the world about to end, don't nobody give a damn. Everybody is a go, but they ain't messing with the ram. And these ladies love my flow, cause they know he's so real. You can call me Michael James or Jacoby O'Neal. Hey, here's a little story about an OG like me, yeah. I'm him, yeah. I'm me, yeah. Here's a little story about an OG like me. Never told on the soul, not you, not me. No, maybe I am him, maybe I am Jim. Jumping out the gym, shining like a gem. Move a lot of weight, but I ain't at the gym. I ain't getting trim, and I ain't getting slim. Hey, I be hitting Kylie if I ain't hitting Kim. Ball head, but I be damned if I ain't getting trim. Hey, I ain't the best rapper, cause I ain't Eminem. Best producer, Dr. Dre, Corey, Mo, and Timberland. Hey, industry corrupt, trying to make us feminine. Trying to turn our men to women, trying to make our women men. Giving killers all the power, false courage for the cowards. Be the same boy they caught in bed with the White House. Puff Daddy in the shower with the pills and the powder. It's 100 ghetto kids getting shot every hour. Hit a certain tax bracket, here come the Illuminati. Cause the Christian Jews and Aki still work for the Anunnaki. Hey, maybe I am Jim, jumping out the gym. Shining like a gem. Move a lot of weight, but I ain't at the gym. Maybe I am Jim, jumping out the gym.
Grand rising. Salute to everyone in the building. I got a heavyweight show for you guys today. We got Dylan Borland, UAP whistleblower who recently came out with the Pentagon and the Senate to give his debriefing and his skiff reports on what he allegedly seen. And let me just tell you guys, Borland does not hold back. He gives you the truth about the legacy program, which is the UAP UFO program, how they're weaponizing it, what the actual craft he's seen look like. This is going to be a banger. If y'all ready to get into this one, I need y'all to thumb up the video, support the channel. Let's go.
For the stats, I be beating the odds. In the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it.
So let's get into this.
What is it that you saw and found out and can tell us about?
I only came forward because I sincerely believed they were going to die. It sucks. I think what we are dealing with is very, very, very old. I think old humans have written those down in religious stories. I think that it's quite clear that we have been influenced by something else. I provided 3 rudimentary drawings, one of which was unclassified and the other 2 were immediately thrown into a SAP. And the 2 that were thrown into a SAP prove we are not alone.
In this episode of Weaponized, you will notice that we chose to censor certain details within Dylan's testimony.
All right, so now look, we're going to get into Dylan Borland's actual testimony, what he had to say. This is an actual compelling interview. He gets into a lot of stuff. I think this is, like I said, very, very compelling. And we're going to get into it. So let's drop it and let's
Most
get right
unrelated to UAP. This is to avoid unauthorized disclosures and is subject to an ongoing clearance review. Dylan was given only 6 days to prepare his testimony for Congress. He is currently seeking clarity on being able to publicly discuss certain aspects of his professional experience. What is it that you saw and found out and can tell us about?
Well, we can go into it. I don't know how much is going to come out.
Okay.
Let's hear it, and then we'll figure it out later.
So basically, hypothetically speaking, let's say that I claim I saw a Bigfoot running around Nevada test range, and I saw a Bigfoot outside the Starbucks, and Bigfoot was wearing a U.S. Air Force uniform. If I said that to Arrow or to the IG, but mainly Arrow, and Arrow comes back and says, and I draw a nice picture of Bigfoot in a pretty Air Force uniform. Let's say Arrow comes back and says, hey, Dylan, you talking about Starbucks is unclassified. You talking about Bigfoot in that military uniform? That's TS, no foreign. You are never to say another word about that. That's what Arrow did to me, and they classified everything I brought forward.
So you're working for BAE and for somebody else.
Yep.
For somebody else in the structure of,
Multi-agency special access program. Yes, sir.
and it's under the umbrella of a private company.
The private company is how they are getting us to work there, but it is all under the umbrella of that agency.
The information you had about these flying Tic Tacs that people are taking down, do you get that information through your work at BAE and that agency?
There were people who ended up working there with me who were brought into the legacy program whose lives were also destroyed, and they believed, based off of what I was saying about what I experienced in my life, the triangle, what I knew that to be true at that point, they believed I was read into the program, and they believed that because I was having the clearance issues and the VA issues and everything else, the financial, what they did to me, they were experiencing it too. And there were multiple people who I was working with that were a part of what is conveyed as the legacy program.
So you're working at BAE for an agency, and on a coffee break or smoke break, you confer with your coworkers and you tell them about something you've seen, and they start sharing information with you.
Yes, but not even all that openly, because people were still so freaked out about it. And this gets into something else, which is when I was there, and this is why, we talked to Dave, and I explained this to Dave.
Rush.
Yep. One of the things that was very odd was, you're working 12 hours and it's middle of the night, 3 a.m. after working 12-hour shift, 4th day in a row. You're just doing anything to stay awake. I remember we were talking about UFOs, and you talk about everything from football to baseball to movies to music. It's just, you're trying to stay awake. You're trying to get through the night or the day. And we were talking about UFOs, and Bob Lazar had come up, and you're just talking normal talk.
Yeah.
And I remember I had talked about what I knew to be true, and I had gotten a pop-up message on my computer. It said, you're not supposed to be talking about this. To this day, aside from having gone to the IG and what was conveyed to me by my attorney, to this day, technically, I have never gone an official, Dylan, here's what's happening, do not do this, here's why. It has been these subliminal pot shots, but there were multiple people that I was working with that were well aware of the reality of this subject, and considering where I worked, the finances that went into there and how much money funneled through there and how many programs we touched, that there were a number of people that were well aware of the reality of this situation. The UFO subject had been a part of quote unquote legacy programs, had gone to TDYs, had done it. But most of the people that were aware most of them were younger. Most of them had had their careers destroyed, their lives destroyed. Most of them believed that me talking about what I was dealing.
This is the debriefing of, like I said, Borland's conversation. This conversation gets absolutely insane. And so we're going to find some parts of this thing where it heats up a little bit, which is where we're going to get into right now. So let's get into it.
The secret employer know what you know. They know what you did. You've done it well, even though you feel guilty about it. Why wouldn't they take care of you and not want you to spill beans or go off the deep end?
So
why wouldn't they do that?
All right, now you're asking me my opinion, and this is my opinion. To be clear, I think at the time that all of this was happening, and considering with what the VA was doing to me, what was on my official record, it is my opinion that it would have been very easy to discredit me publicly by saying this individual is delusional. Look at all his medical records. He's a disgruntled employee, a liar, all of that. And then the problem became, though, especially when I came to Arrow and spilled the beans, and then people found out I kept police reports and voicemails that are on my phone. You guys have heard that people found out very quickly that it was going to be very easy to discredit me when I was still under the belief that if I said anything, they would call me a Looney Tune. And then they found out how much I knew, what I could prove, and what I had. And it quickly became a problem of he is a danger.
Yeah,
Right.
we need to deal with this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Balbazar kind of.
100%. And that's the thing that, that I notice a lot is that a lot of what the types of reprisals that you have experienced in your line of work mimic the same tactics all the way back to 1989 when George was reporting on Bob Lazar. It's like just ways to discredit you and put you. And look, I've seen all the evidence that you provided. We've looked through it. I've talked to people that know you really well over these years. You're a solid individual, or we wouldn't be sitting here. So the fact that they're setting up the option to be able to discredit you is exactly why they probably chose Bob compared to him. I mean, he's working official capacity with clearances and all that stuff, but it's the same tactics.
Yeah, I mean, it's called standard operating procedure. I actually laugh. I mean, honestly, I was laughing about George's mug right here when confronted. One thing about the United States government is they don't really change their SOPs or TTPs. They think if it works, it's going to work forever. And this goes back to issues we were talking about, which is the internet changed the game. AI is going to change it more. And too many people have come out. So these SOPs and TTPs to keep whistleblowers silent, you really got to start adapting, unfortunately. And I don't want to give people who want to hide this secret or ammunition, but this is a different ballgame this time.
Give us a sense of how they've made your life miserable as a result of you leaving that job and really setting the table for discrediting you if they need to do it.
I mean, okay, that works. For example, I witnessed a suicide. The police showed up. There was an official police report. I was with other veterans. The Veterans Affairs Administration was contacted. And the police contacted the VA on my behalf to tell the psychologist there that this happened. I went in with another veteran, a Marine, who deployed to Afghanistan, combat engineer, great guy. We went into our psychological eval from the suicide we both witnessed together. He was treated with due respect, asked how he felt, apologized, the whole nine. What they did to me is they accused me of faking a police report, faking being a police officer, wrote in my official medical records, which have hindered me to this day. It's still ongoing. That I am a liar, I am prone to delusions, I make everything up, and that is in my official medical records. You guys have the police report number, you guys have the voicemail, I played it for you both. That was the first thing the VA did to me. I was put into a hypnosis biofeedback program where once a week I had to go to the VA and I would be hooked up to a polygraph machine. And they would flash images of an Afghan child with a gun to a butterfly, and I'm hooked up to this polygraph machine, and I have to count backwards from 100 by 7 while they're flashing images. And if I got the number wrong, like 193, 86, and I said 77, they'd start screaming at me, honking an air horn, and I'd have to restart. I had to pull my 401k because I didn't have a clearance. I couldn't get a job. I almost lost my house. I had to fight BAE and the agencies I work for unemployment, which was $270 a week in Northern Virginia, which if you know anything about Northern Virginia is the richest part of America. It is not feasible to even get groceries off of that. Basically, I lost everything but my house. And at one point in time, because I was concerned I was going to lose my house because I am a 10% disabled vet, the VA is denying I ever did the jobs I did, denying I have the issues I have, the whole nine. I was genuinely concerned I was going to lose my house, and I began to honestly consider and look at non-violent offenses in order to have 3 hots and a cot, because I was very quickly approaching the point in time where I would probably be a homeless disabled vet.
Sounds like they wanted you to kill yourself.
That is 100% what they did. In fact, there was a doctor who filed a complaint within the IG at the VA on my behalf because they were, in his opinion, trying to get me to kill myself. At one point in time, they put...
So he accidentally told a little bit of information that he had figured out in this secret government program called the Legacy Program, where they deal with UAPs and reconstruction of these aircrafts and these interdimensional crafts. They started targeting him similar to how they did Bob Lazar. I want y'all to continue to listen to this story. This is absolutely insane.
A prescription medication for PTSD and depression, which I wasn't allowed to collect, by the way. The VA still did.
Also, family, I got an update on the Buga Spear connection. This is going to be wild as well.
I had PTSD or depression, but they put me on the medicine for it. And I woke up in the middle of the night while on this medication. And the best way I can describe it is, you need to relieve yourself to go to the bathroom or you're thirsty. It's a physical response. I woke up in the middle of the night and the physical response in my brain was commit suicide. I freaked out, rightfully so. Something I will never do is commit suicide. I'm a Roman Catholic. It is against my religion to do so. I contacted the VA. I went to the VA on the police's, again, all documented. And the VA psychologist, who was a CIA employee of all things, or was, said, oh, this is common. You need to increase your dose. The psychiatrist, you have his name.
Yeah.
He was made aware. He filed a complaint on my behalf. He found out there was a team dedicated to me at the VA, and he filed a complaint against that team. He was told that nothing's going to change, that I answer them. And he told me verbatim, he said, Dylan, you need to do everything in your power to live through this. What they are doing to you is wrong. Do not trust any of these doctors. There is something very wrong with what is being done to you. And keep in mind, this whole time this is happening, I'm over at BAE. And he resigned.
In protest, he resigned because of what they were doing to Dylan. And let's just back up. This is some Stranger Things bullshit. To take somebody like Dylan through, I think it was Stanford research, right? To take somebody through like Dylan.
Penn State, Stanford.
It was what?
Penn State, Stanford.
And, use airfoils and these violent images. And I mean,
Malcolm McDowell.
It is my favorite movie. Yeah, it's like Clockwork Orange. Not to make light of it, but it's like, I've talked to a bunch of people about this, and it's some sort of psychological program that has really deep ties within the CIA.
MK Ultra.
It's like a continuation of that, is what I understand. So there's something else going on that Dylan is searching for answers, and I get that with what he's experienced. It appears to be connected to the UAP thing.
I mean, I'm almost certain it is, because this goes back to when I was discharged from the Air Force. After I processed with the VA and the Air Force, the DOD mandated I go to the Navy. I'm not I never work with them. I train Navy guys, but I'm not Navy. I never work for the Navy other than special ops, which is under redacted. I had out process with the Navy, and when I went down to out process with the Navy in 2013, I go down there and the Navy doctor's asking me about ESP, God, remote viewing, aliens, the whole nine.
You walk in on that day.
I walk in, and during my out process for my medical discharge, they're like, how's your back?
I'm not familiar with Project Pegasus. There is another CIA program that deals with psychedelic skills, and they train people at young ages to be remote viewers. A remote viewer is someone who's able to close their eyes, astral project to a particular place, give you vivid detail all the way down to the coordinates of where it's at. And they use these people in the CIA to find various different things, terrorist bunkers, landing UFO, UAP headquarter sites where they land a lot of their crafts and charge a lot of aircraft. I mean, from Black Pyramids and Alaska. I mean, they have tracked down everything using this remote viewing. If y'all not familiar with Project Pegasus, look it up.
We're sorry about your dental thing. We'll get that taken care of. Oh, by the way, we have some psychological questions to ask you. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in ESP? And that's the first time, George. The second time I had the same thing happen to me when I was filing for PTSD with the VA. The VA doctors and the clinician that did it, the psychiatrist who did my VA eval, started asking me, oh, do you believe in God? Do you believe in ESP? Remote viewing. Has this ever happened to you? Do you have prophetic dreams?
Did you ask them, why are you asking me this?
I did. And they're like, oh, well, this is just standard eval. And all of this stuff, and this is what's so troubling, is because I'm doing this, and it leads us all the way to now, and why I'm here on camera with you is I did everything by the book for our country. I put my faith in bureaucrats and companies in our nation. And what I got for it was losing everything. No job, no clearance, my master's degree gone, my reputation in the toilet. I go and put a bullseye on my back with Arrow, the IG. I tell Congress, let's get it straight. Congress knows. Like, everybody can play the games, and I'm sorry to the congressional staff and members that are here listening to this. Y'all know.
Well, in fact, it's people within government that vouched for the authenticity of your character and experiences that have reached out to me and George. And, they're a little nervous of us like covering, what it is that you have to talk about, although there's a big thing you can't talk about.
I don't know, since 2023, there's been since the first congressional hearing with Pentagon and the first set of whistleblowers like David Grouch and the rest of them. Since then, they had a new hearing about 2 weeks ago, which I played for you guys. If I didn't play, I should get into it, because this is leading up to the actual hearing, and maybe I get into the hearing tomorrow. But a lot of these whistleblowers have been coming out from these particular programs, and now Senate and Congress and the Pentagon is working together trying to create a whistleblower protection program, because it's technically illegal in breach of contract and breach of clearance for them going into a lot of these details about what they're seeing and what they're lying and how they're being mistreated. So there's a thin line right there. And so now they're trying to have a whistleblower protecting agency that's protected by Congress and passed through Senate. And so that's interesting to me.
And I respect that. I understand as a patriot, and the fact that you've testified to that stuff, that you can't talk about it. But I guess my question is, I mean, do you think, just right on the nose, man, do you think that you've been part of some like current day MK Ultra type experimentation on you based on or related to UAP or not?
And is it punishment for what you've seen, or is it part of the whole process you were meant to?
What I will say is this, and this can be, I hope not, but I suspect so.
Could you walk us through at what point you start seeking out other people who've been through the same thing, and your attempts to share information with agencies that are supposedly honestly investigating this?
That's a great question, sir. And
So now it took them a while to end up finding these particular people, but I want y'all to listen to this particular part right here. This is crazy.
called into an emergency meeting, and the only reason why I remember it, and I wish I knew the date, but that day is the day that I made all the edits, printed off my MFR, signed it, and went in front of my entire office, re-scanned it back into my machine, and emailed it back to Arrow. And that morning, the Gang of Eight was called into an emergency meeting about 3 hours after I sent it back to Arrow, and that was the day Donald Trump was indicted. I'm not saying they're correlated, I just know it was that day.
Right.
So from there, I'm like, all right, well, they have my info, let's see what happens. And, during this time, I've been asked once or twice by people of importance whether or not I would testify to Congress under oath on this. And I said without hesitation, yes, like 100% yes.
You testified to the operational UAP that you had direct, close proximity to, as well as the other aspect
And listen,
of what you can.
when you get into the reasons why Arrow, the program and the legacy program, saying that they can't prove or disprove whether or not they're interdimensional or UAP crafts, I'm gonna tell you why. They said the only way that they can prove whether or not this is an alien, quote unquote, UAP or UFO craft, they will have to go to that planet where the craft is from, grab a craft from that planet, and then come compare it. I swear, they said that in the Pentagon debriefing. I want to play the clip right quick where he goes into that. That's absolutely insane. They said, well, now we can't tell you whether or not if it's real or not, because we will have to go to that planet and, bring one of those back. First of all, how can you go to that planet? You already going places. You just told on yourself. You see what I'm saying? This is what they be doing, man. Damn, I accidentally clicked off of it. Damn. Oh, hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. Let me pull this back up because this is insane to me. I don't know about y'all, but I mean this is absolutely strange to me. You know what I'm saying? Dylan Borland is dropping. And listen, when you listen to the Senate debriefing from Congress, congressional hearing, it was a congressional hearing from whistleblowers. Like it's literally been entertained within the confounds of the government publicly. There are UAPs, there are interdimensional crafts.
You came to understand about the legacy program, the reverse engineering, where it's housed, the power source, what it looks like, including
redacted.
I would testify to anything and everything of importance to our Congress, to the legislative branch. I've said it.
Because they should have oversight.
100%, and having been the victim of crimes and having been through this whole thing and being a believer in the Constitution, that this is all criminal in my opinion.
They say they want whistleblowers. They say they want people who haven't come public yet for this next hearing. That's what they've said.
I know.
This is probably when or this comes out will be after that, but that's what they said they want. You have been nominated to Congress.
I have.
And you had additional conversations with them, with staff, regarding the hearing that's coming.
He did all pre-vetting. He went through the whole process. I'm just curious why immediately, if you want whistleblowers to talk, this is their chance. Dylan would be a great chance, just like Matthew Brown, who you know and are friends with. It's nice to hear about Immaculate Constellation and have that document put on congressional record, but it's different than if they get to hear from him. He'd be my first pick with you for a hearing if I wanted real whistleblowers.
I appreciate it. I tend to agree if you're not going to bring home or bring out legacy guys, but knowing what they did to me for being an experiencer and having indirect exposure, I can only imagine what they're going through.
Maybe there's a roadblock. Maybe
Well,
what you have to say is something that they don't want out, even with the task force.
well, I tend to agree, and we haven't even got to the ICIG issue
So tell
yet.
us about ICIG. Tell me about that.
All right, so that summer I send off my Aero MFR. I've been asked if I would testify under oath. I say yes, and all of a sudden I hear there's going to be a UFO hearing. I have no idea who's going to be there. And all of a sudden, Dave Grush is on my computer screen at work, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay. And Dave is saying things like administrative terrorism and a certain agency and certain things, and I am laughing to myself in the office. I'm like, that's me. Like, been there, done that, know that story, know this. And Dave says he has 40 witnesses, and Dave says he filed the IG complaint. And I'm like, all right, let's go. Dave did it. Maybe they're gonna actually do it. Maybe you're gonna call all of us in here and do a full legislative hearing, House and Senate, both chambers. Let's hammer this out like 1970s CIA style. We're reeling you guys back in.
Do you assume you're one of the 40 witnesses he's talking about?
At that time I did, but I came to find out I wasn't.
Yeah, but you never testified to David Grush prior to
100%. But
you did not.
I did
correct?
not, no.
Right. So you would not be one of those 4.
And that goes as to why I went to the IG.
Okay.
So I thought so because I'd been through, at that point, the only process I knew, which was talk to Congress, talk to Aero. I didn't know there was this whole side. Again, I'm like hiding out in my little bunker at work, like I am staying away from all this, and I only peek my head out to like let people know, you should probably pay attention to this, but also you are getting into some really dangerous territory. So I get a phone call after Dave testifies, and they notify me, hey, Dylan, we want you to go to the IG. And I said, all right, what about? They're like, you know, this stuff.
They, me, who? Congress?
A staffer and Dave and an attorney that you guys are aware of. I don't know if I can say their name, but an attorney you guys are aware of.
I think just, yeah, that's good.
All right. And they're like, go to the IG. And I said, am I safe? Is it what the country needs? Yes, yes. I said, all right, let's make it happen. And I go to the IG. That was in, I want to say September, October. I actually have the date for you guys if you need it. But I went there in 2023, late summer, early fall of 2023. And I go through the IG process. And to be honest with you, out of everything, I really feel like the IG process was the worst. I think the people at Aero genuinely cared, but my opinion going through the IG and the questions they asked me, the things that were said to me made me feel like that was a fishing expedition, and the only thing they cared about was finding out how much I actually knew.
Wow. That is highly disappointing.
It was very disappointing being in that room with the conversation and statements that were being made to me. Like when somebody's
Redacted.
asking you a question in the IG, government employee cuts them off and says, you don't ask him that question, and looks at me and tells me you don't answer that question. Yeah. When they ask you, what do you want out of this? And verbatim, direct quote on film, by all means, go get the recording, because they said they recorded it.
Mm-hmm.
But they said, what do you want out of this? And I said, I want to look Congress in the eyes, tell them the truth under oath, so when I die, I can answer for this and know I did my job. And the response was, as far as we're concerned, you already did that and you're not doing it again. So.
Is this the actual Inspector General or
the ICIG? Yes. I have his card at my house.
You went through the whole thing?
I went through the whole thing.
Who else is there?
Redacted.
So ICIG, assistant director,
Redacted.
attorney on my right.
So you try to do this right. You go to ICIG and you literally feel like that they are just trying to pump you to figure out how much you know how dangerous you are to the legacy program.
In my opinion, looking back on this, yes, because the way they asked questions, the statements they made to each other, the statements they made to me, 100% seemed like they wanted to find out how much I knew. And at the end of this, which you're aware of the conversation I had with the attorney, it was, you are credible, not urgent, go disappear in the winds, leave this all behind, shut up, do not do anything. Your entire, everything you said, which goes back to what we talked, I mean, I talked about my childhood in there. I was told everything I talked about in that room now is up for executive review. And I brought up to the attorney, I talked about my childhood. Is that now up for it? I talked about unclassified information readily available on the internet. And they said, Dylan, every single thing you talked about is now subject to executive review. Do not go outside of those bounds.
Your whole life.
Pretty damn much.
It's like a great way to lock somebody down if you want to kind of intake their whole whistleblower story, what they know, and then say, now that you've testified to ICIG, you have to walk away.
When you realize they say that, and that this has been, in essence, a waste of time, that you walked into sort of a trap, I mean, I can imagine how depressing it would be.
It's depressing. It pissed me off because I was already blacklisted from the IC. And I told the attorney that. I told the IG that. Like, I already know that there are things that are in place for me getting jobs, working in this field that years back are in play. And it's happened to me since I've gone to the IG, which goes back to retaliation. Like, technically, I'm still being retaliated against.
Inspector General's office is there to hear about wrongdoing and things that shouldn't be happening in the agencies that it oversees.
You would think, but this is now me being black-pilled, and there's a joke amongst all the military guys, which is the JAG isn't for you, the JAG is for the DOD. The IG isn't for us, the IG is for the government. And that's the way I feel now.
Did you share this with the attorney who had been advising you about seeing these guys who, we're not saying who it is, but who?
I think with the client,
Right.
I just think you're not supposed to do that. It's not like a big secret. I'm just trying to be respectful.
I made it aware to them that the statement that he had made to me was of grave concern. It made no sense. And I had asked, how do I do DOPSR? Because I do not trust this process at all anymore. And basically from that point, I was completely shut out for over a year and a half.
I think lawyers try to protect their clients. You know, I don't think it's nefarious. I think that they're just trying to do or guide their client in what's best for their well-being.
Yeah, well, especially somebody who's been around and knows what could happen.
The stuff. Yeah. That's unfortunate.
Don't disagree. So, you know, I go back to work. I knew I was going to lose my job in the summer of 2024. And I started to ask questions. How do I do DOPSR? Because I'm losing my job. I know I'm losing my job. I know I'm going to have a pain trying to get a new job in the government. Nobody would really help me. And I'm trying to figure it out. I'm asking questions. I'm asking attorneys in this field. How do I file for DOPSR? I want somebody's name next to it. What do I need to do? No help.
You see what's on social media, the UFO world and their experts who are very, very brave on X and giving advice to people like you. Just come forward, tell what you know. They wouldn't dare prosecute you or mess with you. So, I mean, they don't have to prosecute you to mess with you. There's all kinds of things that have happened to you, to Grush, to others. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the federal government has 300,000 attorneys on payroll, and that's just bureaucrats. That's not private contractors. Everything that's said and done is reviewed by attorneys. Everything that's brought forward publicly is reviewed by attorneys. But also, you know, the average American, I believe one of the stats I heard was commits 2 or 3 felonies a day. I mean, they can nab you. I mean, honestly, they can nab you for whatever. And this goes back to even me and my job, which I am so overly paranoid of giving them even an inch. Like, oh, you made a security violation. Bye-bye, Dylan. Oh, you accidentally sold a stuffed animal for $5 at a garage sale. Tax fraud. Like,
yeah, that hit you with anything. He's literally exposing how the government manipulates shit to trump up shit on you. You feel me? Let's get back
I think
into
at
it.
this point,
The waters you down, doesn't it?
it's depressing. I mean, you know, you're aware. I married my wife 1 month before I became a whistleblower. My entire marriage has been nothing but this nonsense.
Is she okay? Is she okay with this?
I doubt, no. I mean, she knows it's true. She knows that this has been my entire government career. She knows what agencies have done to me. She knows what I've been through. I mean, it's a joke with her and I where I have a master's degree, 15 years of experience. She's a very intelligent woman, but she does not meet those qualifications. And she was making something like $40,000 more a year than I was. And it's like, you get to a point to where it's like, Going full circle, you have nothing left to lose.
This may be too personal, but did she ever say, just walk away from this shit? Just walk away.
Well, I think that's why I'm here now, is I have done everything I possibly can, and people that we know had told me, Dylan, walk away from it, and I have done everything in my power to try, except for this. So now this is it.
So this is the kind of, so I was going to ask you, like, this is the coup de grace. It's like, if you don't testify, it's a very bizarre choice that they would have made. But if you don't, then why are we doing this? Like, what do you hope, to get out of this? I don't mean to sound like the ICIG here, but what do you hope to get out of this? But I mean, my point is just that it doesn't do anybody any favors. We know that from Matthew Brown. Like, he threw down, he did his best. It didn't change his life. So why testify like this to the American?
So when he's talking about testify, they're talking about under oath in front of Senate. Now, that's some crucial stuff. If y'all haven't had a chance to check that out, it is crazy. It's a 3-hour Senate hearing, but I'm gonna give y'all some clips from it, man. We got it narrowed down to about an hour worth of clips. So let's get into it. Let's go.
For the stats, I be beating the odds. In the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it.
My name is Jeffrey Nusatelli. I'm a former military police officer with 16 years of active duty service in the U.S. Air Force. I'm here today because the American people have both the right and the responsibility to know the truth about unidentified aerial phenomenon. That truth remains hidden, classified and silenced by fear, retaliation, stigma, and confusion. Today, we are here to help break that silence. Between 2003 and 2005, 5 UAP incidents occurred at Vandenberg Air Force Base, home to the National Missile Defense Project, a top national security priority. At the time, we were conducting launches deemed by the National Reconnaissance Office as the most important in 25 years. These were historic launches. These facilities were vital, and they were repeatedly visited by UAP. Each incident was witnessed by multiple personnel, documented, investigated, and reported up the chain of command. We sent information up, but we got no guidance down on how to handle these events. I personally witnessed one of these events and investigated others as they occurred. 6 other service members have provided me with the information that I will share with you today. The incursions began on October 14, 2003, when Boeing contractors reported a massive glowing red square silently hovering over 2 missile defense sites. After several minutes, it drifted further east onto the base and vanished over the hills. This event, now known as the Vandenberg Red Square, was referenced by Representative Luna at the first hearing on this topic. Official Air Force records of this event are in possession by Aero and the FBI. Later that night, while I was on duty, security guards at a critical launch site reported a bright, fast-moving object over the ocean. I responded to the incident. Chaos ensued over the radio as the object approached rapidly. I heard my friends screaming, "It's coming right at us, it's coming right for us, and now it's right here." Moments later, I heard them say that it had shot off and was gone. When I arrived on scene, I talked to 5 shaken witnesses who described a massive triangular craft larger than a football field that hovered silently for about 45 seconds over their entry control point before shooting away at impossible speed. About a week later, another patrol reported a light over the ocean behaving erratically. Believing it might be an unannounced aircraft, they declared an emergency, and an armed response force responded. Before the forces could arrive, the object descended and either landed or hovered on our flight line and then took off again at impossible speed. The witnesses to this event were threatened and intimidated afterward.
Y'all hear this shit? This is a congressional hearing in front of Congress and the Pentagon. and elected staff members as well. This is crazy.
They were told to keep quiet and think about what they were reporting. After that, things did get quiet until about 2005, when another patrol reported a massive triangular craft larger than a C-130 silently floating over the installation. He watched it for a few minutes. It traveled west and disappeared into the night. And then I had my own encounter, again in 2005. I was off duty, sitting in my backyard with two other police officers when we noticed what first appeared to be a satellite in orbit, but it wasn't acting like a satellite. The light was strange, it was pulsing, and then it started to maneuver. It dropped in elevation. At times it would vanish from view and reappear in a different location in the sky, and eventually it reappeared 200 feet over my house. It was a 30-foot diameter sphere of light. My friends and I watched it for a moment, and then it gently accelerated and traveled up and disappeared into the stars. These events profoundly changed my life and the lives of my friends. We stand at a pivotal moment in history. The question is no longer whether these events are real, but whether we have the courage to face them. True leadership requires vision, a willingness to confront the unknown with transparency and resolve. So I ask the Congress to help we the people enact this vision. There are three goals: fund independent research.
His name ain't no damn Susatelli. His name is Mr. Nusatelli. Nusitelli. I think he said his name.
And treat UAP study with the same seriousness as we would any other scientific field. 2, end secrecy and overclassification. Transparency is the foundation of truth. Without it, witnesses like us are dismissed. 3, protect the witnesses. Many stay silent out of fear for their careers, reputations, and the safety of their families. Protect them, and you will embolden others to join this cause. These phenomena challenge our deepest assumptions about reality, consciousness, and our place in the universe. Exploring them can unlock transformative breakthroughs in technology, biology, and human understanding. Let this be the moment when America chooses courage over fear, transparency over secrecy, and progress over stagnation. Let's show the world that our nation leads not only through strength, but through fearless pursuit of the truth. Thank you.
My name is Alexandra Wiggins. I'm an active duty U.S. Navy Operations Specialist, Senior Chief Petty Officer. Father of 3 and dedicated American testifying today in my personal capacity. The views I share are my own, and I do not represent the official positions of the Department of the Navy or any subordinate organization. On the evening of February 15th, 2023, at approximately 19:15 PST, in the Whiskey 291 warning area off the coast of Southern California, I was serving on board USS Jackson. During that period, I moved between the Interior Communications Center, ICC-1, and the bridge wing, correlating the sensor picture with visual observations, part of my routine responsibilities for surface and air picture management. What I observed and what our crew recorded was not consistent with conventional aircraft or drones as they appear on our system. A self-luminous tic-tac-shaped object emerged from the ocean before linking up with 3 other similar objects. The 4 then disappeared simultaneously with a high synchronized, near instantaneous acceleration. I observed no sonic boom and no conventional propulsion signatures, no exhaust plume, no control surface articulation on the Sapphire image system. Shortly after the synchronized departure, radar tracks dropped. These observations were multi-sensor and recorded inside of ICC-1 with time location overlay visible in our source frames that have been made public by journalists. From my experience operating in this region over many years and consistent with our public characterized encounters, unidentified objects reoccur in United States operation areas off Southern California. That fact alone does not tell us what they are, but it does argue the systematic stigma-free reporting and for the preservation of sensor data so analysts can evaluate safe and intelligence implications with rigor. I want to underscore 3 points for the task force and the committee. Aviation and maritime safety. When crews and watchstanders observe objects that maneuver or accelerate in ways that does not match known profiles and do so near our ships and aircraft, that is first and foremost a safety issue.
I think dude the Ethiopian.
Standardized checklist and training should ensure we capture the best possible sensor data in real time, including IR settings, slant range estimates, and bearing and range altitude snapshots, and immediate chain of custody for any recordings. Reporting without stigma, protection without retribution. Sailors need to know that reporting UAP encounters will not harm their careers. Congress can help by reinforcing witness protection and by directing the relevant office to maintain confidential, destigmatized channels for service members who step forward with data. Declassification and transparency where possible. The task force declassification mission is directly relevant here, where operational security permits releasing metadata preserved sensor excerpts or at least technical summaries would improve public trust and accelerate outside scientific scrutiny. That includes, when feasible, the time geo-reference IR frames and radar parameters needed for independent analysis. To be clear, I am not here to make claims beyond my lane. I am here to provide a firsthand account of what I saw, what our systems recorded, and why it matters for safety, for intelligence, and public confidence. My request to you is practical. Help us capture, protect, fairly evaluate the evidence, and provide a safe pathway for those in uniform to report it. In closing, I want to thank the committee and the task force for holding this hearing and for placing this discussion in a forum where evidence can be examined carefully and openly. I appreciate your attention and stand ready to answer your questions. Thank you.
I'm George Knapp, Chief Investigative Reporter at KLES TV in Las Vegas.
Shout out to the OG George Knapp, man. Anybody that's been on this UFO stuff, UAP stuff, everybody knows who George Knapp is. He's an OG.
I began my pursuit of this weird mystery way back in 1987, and for 38 years, I've always approached this as a news story. It's not a matter of faith or belief. To me, it's a story, and it's an important one. I'm proud to be here alongside these witnesses today, men who have seen strange things and stepped forward to tell the world about it. Whistleblowers and witnesses who step up are routinely insulted, belittled, or worse. They risk their reputations, their careers, their clearances, their livelihoods, and sometimes much more than that, even their freedom. I know that one of the goals of the task force here is to figure out ways to protect whistleblowers and witnesses, and it's a tall order because so many of the things that happen to witnesses like these are extra legal. They're carried out by persons unknown, as Mr. Dave Grush, sitting up at the top of the room, knows all too well, including events in recent days that have happened to him. I want to share a couple of things that I've learned along the way on this long journey, and I submitted most of that in written form because I estimate that my statement here today would take about 4.5 hours. So I'm going to try to jump over and touch on the more important salient points. I submitted a detailed written statement for the record, and we'll go into a lot of that here. But the public has been told over and over since the late 40s, there's nothing to worry about here. These mysterious craft seen by millions of people in the skies, in the oceans, over the land, are not real. They're not a threat. The witnesses are wrong. They're crackpots. Don't believe it. That changed for me. What got me hooked is the paper trail. Documents that were squeezed out of the U.S. government after the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, became the law of the land. And those documents paint a much different picture than what the public, the press, and Congress have been told over many years. The documents from military and intelligence personnel behind closed doors admit that, quote, these things are real. They're not fictitious. They can fly in formation. They're evasive, and they outperform any aircraft known to exist, including ours. The public, of course, as I said, has been told something much different. Back in 1989, I reported about a guy named Bob Lazar, who claimed that he worked at a facility dubbed S4 out in the Nevada desert, very near to Area 51. He said he was part of a reverse engineering program. He said there are alien craft that will be taken apart to figure out how they operated out there. And that was a pretty tall order. I'd clearly taken a dive into the deep end of the pool there. But in the years since then, I've interviewed dozens of other people, and I've detailed what their testimony has been in the written statement. They include Senator Harry Reid, Senator Howard Cannon, also of Nevada, a guy named Al O'Donnell, who was the first general manager of EG&G in Nevada, which managed the Nevada test site, which blew up hundreds of nuclear weapons. There's a guy named Dr. James Lukatsky, who was a career scientist with the Defense Intelligence Agency, who was the guy who initiated a program called OSAP Advanced Aerospace Weapons Systems Application Program, which is, as far as we know, the largest acknowledged UFO program ever funded by the U.S. government, which put together an amazing pile of information that members of this committee and the world, most of which have never seen. The DIA still hasn't released 95% of what was prepared by that program at a cost of millions and millions of dollars. The one name I do want to bring up in this session, though, is Robert Bigelow. So looking into the idea of crash retrievals and reverse engineering, while OSAP, that program, was active, the DIA's contractor, Robert Bigelow of Las Vegas, made a bold attempt to acquire physical proof of UFO crashes. It's been widely reported and suspected that Lockheed Martin is one of the contractors, the defense contractors, that has held this stuff, stored it away in secrecy, and tried to figure out how it works. I have confirmed on the record that Robert Bigelow and a trusted colleague from OSAP met with and negotiated with senior executives at Lockheed Martin and hammered out a deal wherein Bigelow's company, Bass, would receive a quantity of unusual material that had been stashed away and protected at a facility in California. That material was not made here. I want to move on now to the Russia files, because that was going to be sort of the central impetus of what I was going to talk to you about today. Back in the early 90s, I got into Russia, met with a number of their defense officials, Ministry of Defense and others, who confirmed for me that Russia had been doing the same thing that the United States had been doing, that is, secretly studying UFOs while publicly saying something completely different. The documents and interviews that I obtained and have now shared with this task force show that the USSR launched what is almost certainly the largest UFO-UAP investigation in the world. The first phase of that was an order was sent out to the entire USSR military empire that every unit, you see anything strange in the sky, a craft, an orb, something unusual, you had to gather all the evidence, collect testimony from the witnesses, look for physical evidence, and all of that information went into one program at the Ministry of Defense. Thousands and thousands of these reports came in. A lot of them were first routed to the KGB, but then back to another program that came after this collection effort called Thread 3. And Thread 3 was an analysis program. We provided to the committee the documents of what they were trying to do, and essentially they were trying to build their own UFOs. They were using the information from their observations and studies to try to figure out the technology. The guy who was in charge of that program, Colonel Boris Sokolov, told me that their goal was to basically develop technology that would be superior to anything we had, based on what they learned from UFOs.
Mr. Knapp, just in the name of time,
Sure.
to my understanding, did you have anything you wanted to submit for Congress to see in this committee?
I have submitted those documents.
Would you like to play any videos? Do you have a video that you would like to play?
I don't think it's for me to play.
No, that was for Alexander.
Yeah, Alexander's video.
Okay.
You can play it, he could narrate it.
Okay, we can, in the name of showing that video to everyone on task force, we'd like to play that video at this time.
Sure.
Always the VGSS team.
Yeah, like 22,008.
That took off earlier.
If we can get rid of the audio real quick. Mr. Wiggins and Mr. Knapp, we'll get back to what that video was in a moment, but we just want to make sure that it was entered into the record, as well as all the documents. Those will be able to be publicly found for everyone in the country to view. If we could, Mr. Knapp, we'll continue on the line of questioning, but I'm going to move on to Mr. Borland's opening statements.
My name is Dylan Borland, a former 1N1 geospatial.
My boy Borland. He could, that night talking to George Knapp the night before, he was stressed out. Let's see, he looked even more stressed now. Shout out to my boy Borland.
Air Force in an active duty enlisted capacity from 2010 to 2013. I've also been employed with BAE Systems and Intrepid Solutions as a senior analyst, expert in analyzing video, radar, and advanced electro-optical imagery for official identification of aerial order of battle, as well as naval and ground order of battle. I'm a federal whistleblower, having testified to both the ICIG and ARROW with direct firsthand knowledge of and experience with craft and technologies that are not ours and are reportedly operating without congressional oversight. Because of my direct knowledge of the reality of certain legacy UAP programs, my professional career was deliberately obstructed, and I have endured sustained reprisals from government agencies for over a decade. From 2011 to 2013, I was stationed at Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, conducting 24-hour operations via manned and unmanned aerial vehicles for Special Operations Forces and the global war on terror. During the summer of 2012, my team was on standby for weather, and I returned to my barracks on base, and at approximately 01:30, I saw an approximately 100-foot equilateral triangle take off from near the NASA hangar on the base. The craft interfered with my telephone, did not have any sound, and the material it was made of appeared fluid or dynamic. I was under this triangular craft for a few minutes, and then it rapidly ascended to commercial jet level in seconds, displaying zero kinetic disturbance, sound, or wind displacement. Some years after that experience, I was further exposed to classified information from the UAP Legacy Crash Retrieval Program through a sensitive position I held within a special access program. During this time, intelligence officers approached me in fear for their own careers, citing misconduct within these programs and similar retaliation that I was already enduring at this time. These issues include medical malpractice committed by Veterans Affairs staff, denial of work I performed while enlisted in the United States Air Force, forged and manipulated employment documents, workplace harassment, including colleagues being directed to not speak with me, manipulation of my security clearance by certain agencies, blocking, delaying, and ultimately removing my ability to be employed within the IC. The retaliation I face and the retaliation against individuals I know who worked in these programs is what convinced me in March 2023 to become a whistleblower. I came forward out of concern for people's lives and to ensure I did everything I could to let our elected representatives know the truth about what is really happening in the executive branch. At the end of March 2023, I agreed to meet with Aero following the suggestion of other federal officials believing it was what our nation required of me. I had reservations with Aero due to assessments they were reporting publicly at the time as a misrepresentation of the truth. Because of these concerns, I did not share sources and methods information in order to protect current and former federal personnel who had firsthand exposure to technologies of unknown origin. I did not want anyone to face further retaliation beyond what they had already endured. And unfortunately, a staff member ended up getting in some trouble because of that. After David Grush testified under oath in the summer of 2023 and provided historic disclosure, I was then asked to go to the ICIG and did so in August 2023. It was very clear early on during my intake interview, which was video recorded under oath, that the objective was to solely assess how much I know and not move forward with an investigation with new information I provided them. The aftermath of that IG complaint still troubles me to this day. Since my ICIG complaint, I've been prevented from resuming prior employment and can confirm I'm still blacklisted from certain agencies within the intelligence community. In addition, multiple agencies attempted phishing attacks to assess what I had divulged to the Inspector General, including being asked to disclose details of my ICIG complaint during a CI polygraph or a position unrelated to UFO UAP matters as recently as November 2024. As I sit before you today, I and many other whistleblowers have no job prospects, no foreseeable professional future, and a nation every single one of us came forward to defend. Numerous individuals have come forward in various ways to reveal the truth of the UAP reality as patriots and defenders of our nation. Yet many feel discarded, isolated, hopeless, separated from the country they serve. Efforts to rectify this situation for all whistleblowers have been difficult and troubling. And to my fellow whistleblowers and officials who know this information, I offer you my apology, something that I have never gotten.
Look, my boy Borland going through it. Every time he talk, he got a little bounce with it.
For all whistleblowers have been difficult and troubling, and to my fellow whistleblowers and officials who know this information, I offer you my apology, something that I have never gotten, and I'm giving it to you. I swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States, an oath that demands truth and transparency for our democratic republic to function. Each day, these truths remain hidden from our citizens. Humanity drifts further from the principles our nation was founded to uphold. Each day, victims of crimes committed by agencies and companies maintaining this secrecy are denied justice as another day our Constitution is shredded. In 2023, Patriots provided this committee and the executive branch with undeniable proof of the UAP reality, and I commend your continued commitment. The future of humanity is one which we either travel to the stars or regress to the Stone Age with this technology. My career has been to deliver critical information to decision makers. Your role as elected by your representatives is to act on it. The time to act is now. Thank you.
I'm a senior policy counsel at the Project on Government
Hey,
Oversight,
man, listen.
a nonpartisan independent watchdog organization that
Listen,
investigates.
this whole
and exposes-
conversation get crazy. So I want y'all to pay attention. We're going to get into some more conversations about this UFO shit because Borland couldn't get into it with George Knapp, but he got into a little bit of it with Congress. Let's go.
Mr. Borland, in your testimony, you described witnessing large triangular craft while stationed at Langley Air Force Base in 2012. Can you explain what you observed in terms of size, behavior, and why you're confident it was not conventional technology?
Great question, ma'am. So on the base, I lived in the barracks. There was a little smoke pit outside. I was there on the telephone and looking across to the flight line, and I see a white light pop up and stop about 100 feet in the air. I thought it was a weather balloon. I've seen tests from there before, weeknight, normal thing, not surprising. I actually finished my cigarette and I began walking up towards the flight line. There is a track, and because I was on 3 months of night work, I would walk the track at night when we were weathered down. And as I began walking towards the light, towards the flight line and the track, the light then flies across the base, across the flight line, and as it flies to me, a triangle manifests around the light. I can't tell you if it was active camouflage. I can't tell you if it appeared around the light, but I can tell you that it was a white light, and then it was a triangle. It stopped about 100 feet in front of me and approximately 100 feet above me. My telephone got extremely hot, completely froze, dead. I remember how thick it was. It was between 1 to 2 stories thick, equilateral triangle. I could never see the top of it, and the edges were 90 degrees. There were 4 lights in total, 1 light on each corner, and a larger light in the center, 2 to 3 times the size of the corner lights. But what was really odd was the outside. The best way to describe it is like looking at a James Webb telescope picture, where you have the colors and then the black background. So the craft itself was this black metallic flake paint, but on top of the craft was this gold lava, plasma, some type of fluid going over and around the craft. I'm under this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then the center light flashes 2 to 3 times, no sound, immediately shoots up to commercial jet level minimum, in my opinion, and I immediately feel static electricity all over my body, and then I smell the smell of after a thunderstorm or lightning storm, that really strong summer thunderstorm smell. It's up to flight level. I'm trying to get my phone reset, and I can only see the center light at this point. If I didn't actually see it take off, I would have thought it was a star. And then it hovers up there, and it begins to slowly move due east out over the Atlantic Ocean. I finally got my phone reset. The entire thing was about, from the time I saw the light pop up near the hangar until it took off out over the ocean, was about 15 minutes.
And following up to that question, after you disclosed this information to the intelligence community, Inspector General, you were subject to phishing attempts and job blacklisting. How widespread do you think this is across the intelligence community for those who raise concerns regarding UAP programs?
It's a difficult question to answer. I think prior to David Grush and people beginning this process of bringing people into awareness of the reality of these programs and certain things people have witnessed, probably extremely widespread. I think today there's still an issue, but because people are able to come before you and people are speaking out, I think it has been somewhat less. I would hope, though, that people would, because if this goes back into closed doors, this is going to get really ugly.
What type of behavior have you witnessed from former Aero Director Sean Kilpatrick as well as his staff in relate to this information you provided to them? Did they ever try to classify this information as non-human technology?
Good question. The problem with this is that I know what I experienced firsthand, I know other things. I think the staff at Aero that I met with in March of 2023, I think they were good people doing the job they were told to do. I did not meet with Kirkpatrick. He was either not present or did not want to meet me that day. However, they did classify information about the reality of this subject, and it was very concerning because in my Aero MFR, they had actually referenced a former staff member that was the one who told me to go there, and they probably shouldn't have done that.
And real quick before my time is up, and we might go to second round of questioning just so you're all aware, how important, given everything that you've seen and experienced, is the UAP Disclosure Act of 2025 in restoring both public accountability and trust?
I think very important. I would hope, though, that the 7-year window could be shrunk, my opinion, but very important. The truth needs to be known.
Mr. Wiggins, I want to talk to you. I find your background and testimony compelling. When you first saw what you were looking at, what were your first thoughts?
My first thoughts were, I think everything that I was told and taught as a kid and as growing adult no longer, was applicable. If I'm able to see something that I thought defies gravity in such a way, then what else could be possible? That was my first thought.
So did you think what you were looking at was a weapons program that you were unaware of, or did you think what you were looking at was obviously some extraterrestrial piece of technology?
Neither one of those crossed my mind. It was just
How about now? What do you think it is now?
I'm not the expert. I think I want to be as skeptical as everyone else and just hope to know the information.
Anyone in the U.S. government tell you what you were looking at to try to dissuade you from what you thought it was?
No.
So no one was like, oh, there was some anomaly with the technology. No one from the government did that?
No one.
How do you think you were treated when you reported this information or have talked about, the Tic Tac video is well out there. It's well reported. How were you treated?
I've had no pushback at all. I haven't had anyone reach out to me or try to dissuade me in either direction, militarily speaking. So I was treated fair, and I appreciate the Navy itself with assisting me with coming here to being able to testify.
That's good. So what do you think the American people should take away from watching your video? Right? Because when we watch it, obviously, right, we've never seen anything like that. It defies what we know to be technologically possible. What are we supposed to think? Someone's lying about something. Someone's hiding something, right? That's not normal, what you looked at.
I think what the American people should think when seeing that video, along with others before me, is that there is something out there, and we should know as the people what it is.
Right, and so let's eliminate possibilities. So they didn't come to you and say there was a technological error with what you were looking at. So we put that aside, right? They didn't say it was broken. So we look at that and we see something. So it's either a weapons program being reverse engineered by our governments or other governments, or it's nobody's government, and it's not from here. Those are it. You agree with that assessment?
I agree. One or the other.
What do you and your friends think about it today? You all have talked about it. I mean, so what do you think about your experience as a collective group? That'll be my last question, Madam Chairwoman.
I mean, we've been talking about this for 20 years. We don't know what we saw. What we saw changed our lives and the way we think about everything. It was incredibly profound. The object I saw, I don't even know if it was an object. It was a light. It was an orb. It didn't look like a craft, but it did look solid. And that's what we talk about. We noticed the object, and this was a pattern across all the encounters. Someone would see a light. They would pay attention to the light. And then the object responds. It performs for you. And then they come down and they investigate you. So it's almost like they're curious. So that's the thing we primarily talk about. Why did it come after we noticed it? Maybe it noticed us after we noticed it.
I only have 1 minute left. So, Mr. Knapp, we were definitely going to watch every documentary. You guys have done you and Jeremy have done a terrific job. I usually have more questions than I have answers. I think we all do, and you guys are doing a terrific job to bring information to the public. Do you think that any of this is a psyop by the U.S. government?
Entirely possible. I mean, our government and other governments have admitted that they've tried to use UFOs to cover secret projects. But I think they also do some reverse engineering of those claims. So years after people start seeing UFOs over Area 51, for example, they come up with a story, oh yeah, that was, we planted that story. I read in a major newspaper just a couple of weeks ago, they planted this story. An Air Force colonel went out into the desert, went to a bar at Rachel and gave them some fake UFO photos. And that's how the whole story about Area 51 started, which is preposterous.
Yeah, I didn't even get to the crash retrieval program stuff yet, Ms. Chairwoman. There's just so much. Okay, thank you so much for your time today. I wish we had more time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I now recognize Mr. Burchett from Tennessee for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair Lady, and thank you, Ranking Member Crockett. I see a lot of friends out there, and I see a couple enemies, so I'll kind of...
That's my boy from Tennessee. I think that's our Senate, one of our senators.
Remember that.
Mr. Burchett.
But it's a pleasure being here. I want to remind...
And he's not never politically correct. He
find people too. This thing is an ongoing deal. We're not going to get this overnight. We've been fighting this battle, some of y'all, for 30 years and maybe longer. I hope we just keep focused on what we're trying to get to is total disclosure. We get a little wrapped up in a lot of things, but the government has something and they need to turn it over to us. We pay their dadgum salary, you pay our salary, and you ought to get more out of us than you do. And that's what disgusts me about this whole thing. I think they're just trying to run the clock out on us, really. They'll poke us a little and they'll make jokes to us and try to pull us off the target, but I think we know where we're at. And that's why they're firing at us, because we are over the target. My first question is, Mr. Knapp, I recently introduced the UAP Whistleblower Protection Act to help provide whistleblower protection to federal personnel for disclosing the use of federal taxpayer funds to investigate UFOs. I still don't want to say UAPs. How can Congress further increase whistleblower protections?
He don't want to say UAPs. His ass just a stubborn old head. Listen, they already done proved that they're not UFOs. What do you mean by that? They're not flying. They're not flying at all. Someone that can go at Mach 100 speed, that's over 4,000 miles per hour within a second, wouldn't be able to last in any type of craft with the inertia energy that will be behind it. You will be turned to a jelly. Your body wouldn't be able to withstand the G forces. One G force is 2 times your body weight. 2 G forces is 3 times your body weight. So forth and so on to 100. I'm just giving y'all some. I'm just saying.
I think you got to unleash the dogs and go track down the money and where it goes, because a lot of this stuff has been moved out of government. Sure. As you know, Rep. Burchett, it's been given to private contractors who stashed it away. They've had it for so long that there's nobody left inside government, or very few, who know where it is.
And they do that to keep us from FOIA, correct?
Yeah, it's to keep it from FOIA. And I think that the contractors who've had the stuff for a very long time set their own standards about who is allowed to know what. And it's a very small group that ever cracks that. I think Representative Luna has been looking at.
Look at Jeremy Corbell back here.
The use of classifications to hide things. I'm not sure that even this committee getting security clearances that should allow you to see this stuff would allow you to follow where it really goes.
I worry about the people that are looking at it and don't even know what they're looking at. I mean, it's gone through so many, since Roswell, for instance. I mean, you think there's nobody even alive that was around any of that stuff.
Yeah,
so
I don't think they've made much progress from the people that I've talked to. I don't think they've made much progress in learning that technology. Might have made some, but you wonder, the implication is Tic Tac. Oh yeah, that's ours. What flew over Washington, D.C. in '52, is that ours too? When are you going to break that out? You guys authorized tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars on weapon systems that can't do half of what we've seen UFOs do. So when do they break this out? If it's really a classified project, could change the world. I don't think they've made much progress, and I think they've been lying to us and to you and the rest of the world, and they're still doing it.
Yes, sir, I agree with you. How did you manage to obtain the classified Russian UAP documents, and how did you get them back in the United States?
Well, I met this Russian physicist who was in the United States lecturing.
And I want to clarify that. I can't even take a thing of honey home on my airplane when I fly back to Tennessee.
Yeah,
so
I did something pretty dumb.
And I'm bitter about it, but go ahead.
I did something kind of dumb. I met with these officials who, during that time period, Glasnost, Perestroika, the Russians were trying to open up to the world. And I saw it as a window of opportunity, and it was. And we were able to talk these folks into providing us information that otherwise we would never have seen. Some of that was classified. I found out that they only stamped the top pages of these documents that were classified, so I just removed them. I removed those pages, and I carried them out. And if they'd caught me, I'd be in a gulag still.
Yeah. We'd be saying, what happened to George Knapp? Oh, yeah. What happened to the Russians that came forward to you in 1993, and were there any repercussions for them?
Well, there were. The first thing that happened when I talked about this after getting back and going through the files and things and sifting through it, the Russian physicist who had helped us be introduced to all these people wrote back and said there was a huge eruption, that there was the real right, far autocratic forces that wanted a return of the USSR had really go after these guys. They described them as traitors. Nikolai Kapanov, the physicist friend of mine, said, look, if this had happened 5 years earlier, we would be in prison. If it had happened 10 years earlier, we would have been shot. Right. Luckily, at that point, Putin was not in power, but none of those people that we talked to on that trip in 1993 would ever talk to me again. I went back in 1996, and it was like I had the plague. I spoke to different people, but they were scared. And eventually, the story was spun where the Ministry of Defense officials who gave us this information were described as ufologists who said there was nothing really significant to these files. They didn't really find anything a big deal. And I can tell you, you'll see those files that I shared with you, they did find stuff. There was an incident in October of 1982 over at ICBM base where UFOs popped up, was observed over this.
Hey, man, George Knapp's got the receipts.
And I can tell you, you'll see those files that I shared with you. They did find stuff. There was an incident in October of 1982 over at ICBM base where UFOs popped up, was observed over this base where the missiles are pointed at us, United States. These UFOs perform incredible maneuvers. They split apart. They fuse back together. they'd appear and disappear. And right at the end of this 4-hour period, the launch control codes for the ICBMs lit up. Something entered the correct codes. The missiles were fired up and ready to launch, and they could not shut it down.
Now, that's a unique story because it talks about a UAP over a nuclear aircraft and actually igniting and turning on the nuclear reactors as if it knew each and every code. This happened at Oak Ridge Military Nuclear Facility Base about 5 years ago in Tennessee, in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And allegedly, they opened up a portal that particular area, which, man, it's a lot to go down with, man. I've been on my UAP
4-hour
ship.
period.
We'll get back to this.
The launch control codes for the ICBMs lit up. Something entered the correct codes. The missiles were fired up and ready to launch, and they could not shut it down. The Russian officers were panicking. The UFOs they disappeared. The launch control system goes back to normal. Colonel Sokolov and his team came in, took the thing apart, could not figure out what it was. It wasn't a power surge or EMPs or some of the baloney excuses that our country has given for similar events involving our nuclear missiles. They thought it was a message from wherever the UFOs were from. And that's a chilling thing. I mean, we were a couple of seconds away from World War III starting, and the UFOs were responsible for it.
All right.
Chief Wiggins, based on your training and operational.
They said they was a couple minutes from World War III starting, and the UAPs that started it.
UFOs were from, and that's a chilling thing. I mean, we were a couple of seconds away from World War III starting, and the UFOs were responsible for it.
All right.
Chief Wiggins, based on your training and operational experience, could the behavior that you witnessed, a transmedium object vanishing without a sound, be explained by any known technology that we possess or other governments possess?
It cannot. No.
And has any government agency debriefed you or any of your shipmates regarding the EOIR and radar?
Hey, if y'all want to get on the panel and come give y'all opinions or call in, the call-in number is available as well. Put that on the screen. I think the only I think dummies should be the only people that don't think that other intelligent species have always been around, maybe even been on this planet. Okay, I only think dummies believe that. So if y'all want to get into some conversations, hit the link.
Confirmed UAP encounter aboard USS Jackson?
No one has, no, ma'am.
What was that encounter like when you brought that up? If you want to briefly summarize that, when you brought that to their attention and then you were not provided any follow-up, who was told and how did you feel when there was no contact back to you?
As far as the actual incident happening,
Yes,
or
sir.
the reporting level?
Yes, Chief.
It was within the event happening. My duties are to report to the tactical action officer on watch while we're standing watch. So tactical action officer was there. I made my report. I've not had any discussion outside of that day. There's been no communication to me or requests from me within inside of the military. But speaking of that actual incident itself, once the report was made to the tactical action officer, that's when I made the decision to ask the individual watchstander that was controlling Sapphire to be able to slew into the location. And that's what you see in the video itself is when the watchstander is slewing in and kind of showing us what we're looking at. But outside of that, that's as far as the reporting went that I know of.
Thank you, Chief. Just for the sake of time, Mr. Nusatelli, has RO, the Air Force, or the FBI ever followed up with you personally about the Red Square event?
I did have follow-up by Aero, nothing with the Air Force. The Aero office updated me, I think, at least 2 times. They let me know that they were unable to locate any records, that the records had been destroyed by the Air Force. The Air Force is destroying all their police records every 3 years on a schedule. So,
you were informed that these documents were destroyed.
Well, I have a Freedom of Information Act from the Air Force that states clearly that they destroy all police records on a 3-year schedule.
Okay. So they were sitting on documentation, destroyed it, refused to question any of the lead investigators, anything leading into this investigation?
Yeah, basically they destroyed all the police records. So you couldn't even call the Air Force and ask them if there was a vehicle accident in that time frame. So that's a big problem. We're losing data in real time. So we'll never be able to go back and
I think our
track.
federal government has a history of destroying records. Thank you very much, Mr. Nusatelli.
Look, I'm not jumping.
Listen, nobody said UAPs come from the sky, dummies. Y'all just see them in the sky. Slow down, low down.
To the conclusion that I believe that there are, aliens coming from another planet. But I'm open to that. And I think that it's our responsibility, especially when we're seeing that we have a government that is actively blocking information from us. Just last night, I tried to get an amendment onto the National Defense Authorization Act that fit in the germaneness of that bill to have UAP disclosure. And conveniently, it was named non-germane, mostly deemed by staff, not even an elected official. This is the kind of stuff that we repeatedly see. Last year, we were blocked by someone in House administration from being able to receive a full briefing from Arrow. So not an elected official, but someone in staff blocked us. And I've had it. Enough is enough. I want to cue up a video that I've been given. And as before it starts, I'm going to describe, this was taken October 30th of 2024. This video is of an MQ-9 drone tracking an orb, or this object, off the coast of Yemen. You'll see that another MQ-9 launched a Hellfire missile. That you cannot see that drone. And so
So now we're about to show y'all footage of a UAP being tracked by a military craft on camera and on radar. And not only that, a missile was shot at the UAP and it ricocheted off and split into different parts and then eventually came back together. See, they got the footage. They been had this. This is from 2024.
I'm not going to explain it to you. You'll see exactly what it does. This is when it's zoomed out, so you can still see it traveling. So, Mr. Knapp, have you heard about events like this occurring, and what information might you have?
I have heard about events like this. I have heard about this event. Jeremy Corbell and I talked about it in one of our episodes a while back. We did not have the video, though. There are servers where there's a whole bank of these kind of videos that Congress has not been allowed to see, that the public hasn't been allowed to see. Occasionally, some of that stuff gets out in the wild and it comes our way. It should be going to you. The public should be seeing this stuff. And why you're not allowed to, I don't know. But that's a Hellfire missile smacking into that UFO and just bounced right off. And it kept going.
It kept going, and it looks like the debris was taken with it.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
So
what flies like that?
Again, I'm not going to speculate what it is, but the question is, why are we being blocked from this information consistently? And you had you reported James Lakatsky came to you with government possession of NHI craft and how they ultimately gained entry. Can you testify to the veracity of that claim?
Dr. Lakatsky is an honorable man who served most of his career with the DIA, a very trusted, high-level rocket scientist and intelligence analyst who inspired the OSAP program, as I said earlier. And in full disclosure, I've co-written 2 books with him. He dropped this on myself and our other co-author out of the blue. And it took 14 months for us to get DOPSR approval for him to release 2 sentences on that. He said this craft, we had managed to get inside of it. It had no wings, no rotor, no tail. It had no fuel tanks. They didn't know how it flew or how it was operated. It looked like it was aerodynamic, but he would not go further. He's a by-the-book guy, and until he gets clearance to say more about that, I don't think we're going to hear much more. But it's not ours. It wasn't ours. We didn't make it. We didn't know who made it and how it was built and how it operated. We've got at least one, and I don't know. I think that's enough confirmation that we do have recovered discs and material.
Mr. Knapp, I've watched many of your videos on Joe Rogan and other places. One of the big questions, I think, for many of us is why do you believe that the federal government refuses to be transparent about this issue?
I think there's probably multiple reasons. At the start, when these things first started invading our skies in large numbers, we were scared. It was right after World War II, and we didn't know what they were, and they didn't want to panic the public, and that was probably a good call. Over time, I think the lying sort of became institutionalized. You know, flights over Washington, D.C. in 1952, they're seen, they're captured on radar, jets are chased after these objects, and then we get an explanation it was a temperature inversion. And those kind of lies have been told for a long time. What was told to me by an investigator from Congress, a guy named Richard D'Amato, who was sent after this story by Robert Byrd and Harry Reid. He came out to Nevada, tried to get into Area 51, did get in there, looked around, talked to people, trying to get to the bottom of it. He believed that this program, reverse engineering, et cetera, was inside, had been moved inside these corporations. And he said, when this comes out, people are going to go to prison. And he meant people who were basically misusing legitimate national security funds, tens of billions of dollars, in order to keep this cover-up going. I also believe there's a legitimate reason for the cover-up in that there is undeniable connection of national security involved in this technology. If we are racing for it to master that technology against the Russians and the Chinese, which is what I have been told by Senator Reid and many others, then it is a race that's critical to our survival. There could be a form of disclosure, I think. Yes, it's real, it's from somewhere else, without revealing all the details that would allow someone else to have an advantage in the race for this technology.
Thank you.
My first question is to Mr. Knapp. Mr. Knapp, how do we know that the files that you obtained from the former Soviet government are not BS and just given to you as a disinformation campaign against the U.S. government?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I shared some of them with the Senate Intelligence Committee when I first got back because that was requested by the Russians who shared some of that information with me. Secondly, I gave all of that material to the DIA through BASS, the OSAP program. Sorry for the acronyms.
Can you name names real quick? Sorry.
At BASS or OSAP?
Who did you give them to directly?
I gave them to Robert Bigelow and to Jim Lukatsky. And they hired a whole team to go through them and retranslate them.
Y'all don't know who Robert Bigelow is. He's the multi-billionaire who ended up buying that property out in the West Coast called Skinwalker Ranch. I'm pretty sure y'all heard about it. And it was a lot of strange programs that he had going on.
And analyze it, and they created a structure of how the UFO programs in the USSR and Russia were put together. They said they were real. The other person who said they were real is David Grush.
And then finally, Mr. Borland, when you engaged with Arrow in 2023, you noted that their public statements did not match the reality that you and others had witnessed. In your assessment, what were the key limitations of Arrow?
You know, I would put it to you this way. The statement Arrow has made is scientific evidence of extraterrestrials. Scientific evidence requires a scientific control. Extraterrestrial is an entity on another planet. The only way to scientifically prove extraterrestrial is we have to go to that planet, acquire technology, bring it back, and compare it to what we have here.
So you're saying they won't let anything out because, or they won't.
That is crazy.
Limitations of Arrow.
Listen to this.
You know, I would put it to you this way. The statement Arrow has made is scientific evidence of extraterrestrials. Scientific evidence requires a scientific control. Extraterrestrial is an entity on another planet. The only way to scientifically prove extraterrestrial is we have to go to that planet, acquire technology, bring it back, and compare it to what we have here.
So you're saying they won't let anything out because, or they won't come forward unless they confirm that unless they go to the planet and confirm where its origin is.
That would be scientific evidence, yes. And by that statement, Arrow found no scientific evidence of extraterrestrials.
Look at that white woman back there.
Basically, I don't want to call it a psyop, but a
He knows
misrepresentation because we do have things. But making that statement is not technically a lie. It's a misrepresentation of the full truth.
Let me go to you, Mr. Knapp, first. You've interviewed numerous UAP whistleblowers over the years. Question is, how do you verify their claims before deciding they're credible enough to report on?
It's a combination of factors. First, you check their credentials. Did they really serve where they said they did? And did they work where they said they did? Are there any other witnesses? Is there visual proof, film, footage, things of that sort? You ask the people around them that know them, that used to work with them, if they're credible people. That's one way. You know, I think about Arrow, the organization that this body created to deal with witnesses and whistleblowers. I hope I'm not taking too much of your time here, but they invited people to come forward, service members who knew, saw things and had experiences. And I can tell you that the people that I have talked to who went through that are deeply disappointed. There was a guy named Bob Jacobs who was a lieutenant attached to Vandenberg in 1964. His unit would record missile tests. They recorded all of them. On one of these particular tests, a UFO comes out of nowhere, zaps what looks like a laser beam at what would have been a nuclear dummy, a nuclear weapon, and disabled it. And he is called into the commander's office. Two guys in suits clip that film footage out that shows the UFO, and he's ordered to never talk about it. He comes forward to Arrow. He heeds the call, thinking he's doing his duty as an American to tell that story, and they completely dismissed him. They made up a story that they had tracked down the original footage, and there was nothing like that in it. Well, there was no original footage. It had been taken away the day the footage was recorded. He's deeply disappointed. People like Bob Salas, who had worked at a nuclear ICBM base, who saw UFOs flying over the base, and these missile silos were taken down. He went to Arrow, too, and was completely disregarded. It almost looks like Arrow operated as a counterintelligence operation to get people to come in, tell their stories, and then discredit all of them. I can't imagine that any whistleblower or witness will ever go to Arrow again because of what happened under the first director, who's now long gone, but still seems to act as the spokesperson for that organization.
And I would say, Madam Chair, maybe at some point we need to really dig deep into Arrow, and I would encourage us.
Oh, I'd be happy to send maybe a subpoena to Mr. Kilpatrick.
That'd be fun.
Another question for you, Mr. Knapp. What is, in your view, having investigated this issue for so many years, what is the long game with respect to disclosure of this information to the public?
All right, we're going to play some more of this in a second. I'll probably get into some more updates. We got Black Ice in the building with us. Black Ice, the P.
Yo, what it do? Man, let me do something for you real quick, bro. Hold on. Bro, you got to knock it off, bro. Stop it. Ain't no goddamn aliens exist. Nigga, show me one.
I ain't say nothing about no aliens, though.
Shit, you talking about UFOs? Who driving them motherfuckers?
We talking about UAPs.
UAPs?
Yeah, UAPs.
You got UFOs? You got UFOs?
UFOs ain't the correct term. They don't use that no more. That's why you keep hearing them saying UAPs. Some of the older guys said we prefer to use UFOs, but that's already been scientifically proven to not be the case.
Well, they unidentified flying objects. What the UAP stand for?
Unidentified aerial phenomenon, because the objects are actually not flying. They figured out that they're not flying. It's a whole nother different dynamics of physics that they're using. But listen, it's a whole nother breakdown on this, bro. Like what I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother conversation, bro. I'm just saying they're not UFOs, though.
Oh, okay. So
but I mean, you can say, but I understand what you mean when you say UFOs, though.
Right. So who driving it? The green aliens, the gray aliens, or the black, the tall aliens?
We trying to see now. Under my, if you asking me on my own personal belief from what I accumulated over the years, I can break that shit down. But for what these people talk about, I don't really know. But I do know that they have found biologicals that they have able to identify. So they haven't been able to break down that. Maybe they'll come out in the next hearing. It's a skillful. A lot of this shit is classified, so they're trying to get this whistleblower protection agency so they can go into full debris. You feel me? Because certain shit they still held under oath on. If they break it, they gonna send their ass to the gulag. You already know.
It's a strange world, man.
Yeah, it is, bro. Listen, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction, though. You feel me? It's sometimes it's easier just to make up some shit and give it to you instead of telling you the truth. That's all I'm saying, brother. I ain't trying to get nobody to believe in UAPs or UFOs, if you want to call them. I'm just telling you, I know what's up. I live next to a nuclear facility that wasn't even on the map until 2012. It's a secret city in Tennessee where they make nuclear bombs, the same nuclear bombs that they sent to Yokosuka in Japan.
Well, that's, you know what I'm saying. I believe that's a stretch, man. I think if you believe in aliens,
I don't believe in aliens. I don't
if you
believe in
not
aliens.
aliens, UAPs. If you believe in that shit, and we don't have no evidence. All they got is saying they seen it.
You just heard them say under oath in Congress in front of the Pentagon right now that they have evidence.
Shit, niggas say they say shit under the oath all the time. You know,
I mean, I'm
you
just
know
saying, they
everybody
say they
when
got
they get in the
evidence. So
courtroom, everybody lying.
there's tons of footage out there. Now, have you seen one land in your yard? Have you seen one of these little UAPs come communicate with you, whatever the case, or whatever, you know, maybe not. You feel me?
Right.
Maybe not. But some people have, though. I mean, out
ran
of
across
100,000
see
stories, out of 100,000 stories, the eyewitnesses, the people of different accounts don't know each other, breaking this shit down from their own experiences. You saying all 100,000, possibly a million people that said this is all false? They all wrong?
it's sci-fi,
And you
man.
saying all 100,000 is incorrect?
It's
That's not even
sci-fi, man.
mathematically. That's not
I'm
even
I'm I'm
mathematically
into that
possible.
sci-fi shit, man. But it's all sci-fi,
I'm just saying though, that's mathematically impossible for a million to be wrong.
I don't think so. I think a million motherfuckers. I think it's
Name,
more motherfuckers. It's
name
way
one
more motherfuckers that
thing.
lie. It's way more motherfuckers that lie than tell the truth in this world. What you
Yeah,
think about that?
that is true too, though. That is true. But you ain't gonna find a million motherfuckers saying that same lie, though. That's the difference. That's the only difference, though.
It's a theory, just like everything else is. You know what I'm saying? Until the shit really found true, it's
No, we
just a
ain't talking
theory.
about those. You ain't talking about. Ain't none of these people being theoretical. As a matter of fact, they're being a matter of a fact when they're speaking. That's the only difference. This ain't a you don't give theories in front of a congressional hearing that's going in a skiff. You don't create a protectancy agency from somebody that's lying. I'm just saying, bro.
But he say 2001, somebody a spaceship appeared over DC or something like that, over the Capitol.
He said 1952, but yeah, he's going back to all the original records, and he even led up to the 2025 or 2024 case.
And what they gonna say next? All this shit was built by aliens. They gonna try to discredit all the black people. And that shit that's gonna come next. Cause they
Nah,
already they already say them
see,
weirded out motherfuckers on
that's
Discovery
some
Channel.
fear, that's some fear mongering shit. So ain't nobody worried about nobody saying no aliens this shit. We just trying to see to get down to the bottom of it and the truth. Because a lot of people is witnessing it from all genres of life, from all ethnicities, from all fields of schooling and everything from across the globe, bro. They can't be all wrong, bro. That's all I'm saying, bro.
But then I'm listening to this motherfucker. He talking about some. They gonna have to follow the motherfucker to the planet or go back to where the planet
That's
that
how
he from.
that's the program that he worked for. He worked for a program called Arrow. They got a special another program within that program called the Legacy Program. And he said that they can't verify and prove scientifically that these are UAPs until they go to the planet that the UAP is from and actually look at they shit there. You see what I'm saying? So it's pretty much like, nigga, we ain't never gonna tell y'all niggas whether or not it's real or not.
And they ain't gonna never be able to find them motherfuckers, man. Them motherfuckers is dipping on their ass.
Well, nah, they can't. They ain't gonna
With
go
no
to no
G
planet.
force inside of the
Listen,
space, with no G force inside of the UAP. I'm talking about the ride is smooth, and them
listen, this was
motherfuckers
gonna fuck
dipping.
them up, Black Ice, because they can't go to a planet that they from, because they not from a planet. They're from a dimension within this plane of existence. So now, now we're dealing with another type of physics that we know exists. This is why they built quantum computers to try to break down this physics. They spent $90 million on the computer to try to fix this. So we know that there's some things out there that is going on that science just can't comprehend. Or do you believe that science just comprehends everything and they explain it to its finest detail? No,
it's a continuous study. It's a study.
They just now started understanding what atmospheric plasmoids is. They just now started understanding that, which is a real thing. Y'all can look it up. Now you got science, Harvard scientists coming out on record talking about, listen, they say it's a comet coming, but according to mathematics, it is 60% chance that it's not a comet, that is intelligent technology. A big ass comet the size of Manhattan, headed straight towards Mars right now. They've been tracking it for the last 6 months. It's called 3-Eye Atlas. Not only have they got the actual data, you say you want to see the actual technology. They got the technology. America just don't show it. See, when you get into tapped into this, you got to get into like Spanish records, Spanish news, Spanish documents, and scientists. See, they just had a craft land called the Buga spur that they landed and publicized about it. They actually got it. Images of it, breakdowns of it, full scans of it, CT, X-ray scans of it, material breakdowns on it, everything. They even got the damn image of the damn thing flying before it hit a power line, surged out, and fell down. This is all documented, bro. Like, this is 2025. You can't hold shit no more. They shouldn't have gave us technology. They shouldn't have gave us social media, and they shouldn't have gave us news. They could have hid this. They would have been easy to hide this shit in the 90s. We'd have never heard about this shit.
Well, I'm finna kick back, man. I'm finna go back.
A nigga in Panama just found the meteorite. And in that meteorite, some type of black slime came out of it, but the slime was moving. You know, he's been documenting every day of it 24/7, and that thing done grew to about the size of a cat with a claw on it.
Stop it. Stop it, man.
Man, listen, this is documented, bro. This is documented. This is documented in
Man,
Panama,
that ain't no
bro.
that man, that's some sci-fi shit, man. That nigga got made that shit in his back. His back room back there, man.
No AI shit, bro. This ain't no AI shit, bro. This is not no AI shit, bro. Real talk, bro. They ain't putting it out in mainstream media because it ain't in America.
I'm finna kick back, man. I'm finna let you. I'm finna sit back and listen, man.
Nah, bro. I need you to wake up, bro. These UAPs is real. Nah, they real, bro. You gonna see one. They gonna come out. Listen, my prediction is you gonna see them on these next hearings in the next year or two. You are gonna see a actual being that drives those UAPs sitting in one of these Congress hearings.
Man.
All right, bro.
Man, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. Stop it, man.
I'm telling you, bro. Don't
stop
say
it, man.
Your
mind
Black
ain't
Ice.
ready to grasp some shit like that, man.
Black Ice. Listen. I'm telling you. So listen, we having this conversation. So when I say I told you so, you just gotta accept that, bro. People in the high ups, bro. I got homies in the CIA, bro.
Them niggas don't know what's going on neither. They guessing they goddamn self.
I can't even speak on too much shit, but just know they got some crazy clearances and they in a couple programs right now.
I keep on believing in alien shit. I'm gone, man. I'm finna get in the chat and talk shit.
Y'all think this some alien shit, bro? This ain't no alien shit, bro. This is some UAP shit. Like they got people eyewitnessing orbs. All kind of shit. Do I gotta show y'all some shit? Do I gotta show y'all some secret shit that I found? I don't know if y'all ready for it yet, man. I don't know if y'all ready for it yet, man. I got some exclusive footage that I ain't even supposed to show. I got from my CIA buddy. He said, man, listen, this YouTube channel is under investigation. Oh, shit. He said this YouTube channel is under investigation. That's what I was told. And when I went to it, dude ain't even got 1,000, maybe like, he probably got 1,000 subscribers. Don't get no views, 20 views. But he got something captured on it that's crazy. I can go to it right now, no bullshit. Y'all want me to show y'all right quick? Hold on, let me see if I can show y'all right quick. Hold on, let me see if I can show y'all right quick. Yeah, this some exclusive though. I ain't even supposed to be showing this. But y'all seen the Buga spirit, right? Hold on, I'm gonna show y'all the Buga spirit too. Because before I get into this one, what I'm about to show y'all. Damn, hold on. Did they erase it out my files? Hold on. Yo, they might erase this shit out my files, fam. Hold on. Let me do some shit right quick.
The people said, are you okay going to Syria?
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Damn, I can't even find it, gang. Hold on, let me just go through my history real quick. Let me just go through my history real quick. Hold on. Damn. My bad, y'all. Y'all probably think I'm bullshitting. Let me go through my watch later. I might have said it. Man, I'll show y'all later, man. On the next go around, because I can't find it. Damn. How long ago was that, though? Let me see. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I might have found it. Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. I think I know where.
Now, on yesterday's video, I
had to put this in a safe spot. I had to put this in a safe spot.
That's a Kawasaki low fork. No, it's not.
Just wish for the best for me.
Hold on.
It seems like the
First video, 13 days ago.
Hold on. Oh yeah, I remember what it was. Hold on.
What's this? 4chan, so they put it on there. That's a Kawasaki low fork. No, it's not.
Hold on.
4chan. Anything.
Okay, guys.
I'm
I
trying
guess
to find
Fed
out where I
Forks,
can find this bro channel.
the day I posted on YouTube,
I had it
full
here
object.
somewhere.
So now I'm gonna keep trying to post like every day. So
When she
Hold on. I'm trying to find it. It's in one of my files. I got that shit in here. I made sure I saved it. Damn. I might have just clicked.
Chan, so they put it on there.
I'll find it for y'all later, man. Oh, hold on.
okay, guys, I was just making this update too.
I think I found it. All right. So I need to be showing y'all the Buga spirit though. I need to be showing y'all the Buga spirit. Who is this in here in the back? Let me put my thing up. Renee Stevens, peace and blessing.
It's me. It got my real name up there. That's terrible. It's Jazz.
Oh my bad, damn.
I'm exposed.
I'm bogus as hell.
I'm exposed, man.
Yeah,
No, I
man.
was asking you. I was asking you if you got that email I sent you about the Vimanas. It's like super technical. I sent it like last week about these ancient flying things or whatever it was. The words are big and long, and the video is super technical. It's like 3 parts of them. They're called Vimanas.
I don't know. I'm about to check that out though. It's a video. You said it's a video, Jazz. Yeah. Jazz dipped off. I watched Casper Channel in the UK, man, speaking. Hey, man, listen, let me show y'all about this Buga spirit real quick. I'm going to show you what some other shit that I got lined up, because this all going to make sense.
Uh-oh, I fell off.
Yeah, you did. Were you back?
Yeah, I'm gonna go, but I just want to know if you've seen that video. Look it up, man.
Nah, I'm gonna look at it. Resend it to me if you can.
Okay, I
This
will.
supposed to be fresh in there, so I ain't gotta look too far.
I will. All right, y'all.
All right, peace. Shout out to Jazz coming through. We always appreciate that. Now look, let me show y'all this. This is the boot. Bap sleep. Chill out. Nah, I'm just getting my energy together. Chill out. I could go for a little nap right quick. I ain't gonna lie. Been up since like 4. But nap ain't gonna hurt nobody. You know?
Y un globo no es.
Now look, this the Buga spread.
Eso se ve como.
Now look, I'm gonna just break this shit down to y'all in English. They like, oh, look at this shit, y'all. What the hell is that? Look at it. Oh, it's fun. First of all ain't even supposed to be moving in the sky like that because it's not even aerodynamic. There is no object that's shaped like a damn ball that should be able to fly. It's not even aerodynamic according to our physics of how flight works. You see what I'm saying? So now I'm gonna get into some more footage of it though, because it's a lot to come with it. Hold on. Because they end up capturing the now look. It hit a power line, they went out it. So it's all types of stuff like that out here, man. I'm trying to tell y'all. But hold on, it get even better than this though. It get even better than this because the scientists that you see in the video actually got the Buga spirit. They actually got it. So I'm gonna break this shit down to all y'all dumbass niggas who don't know that they got alien technology out here. Boom. Here we go. That's the actual Buga spirit. Look, let me show y'all some shit. Look at it. Now look, let's break this shit.
It is much less. And at the same time, why is it not stable? Why is that measurement not stable? We don't know.
That every time they measure the materials come back with a different quality and a different rating and a different percentage of metals every time, like as if it's changing qualities. And
we don't know if something changed inside and made everything change. I believe that the investigations are going to have to continue for a long time, Martine. I mean, there are really too many things we don't understand about this sphere, which is normal. But every time we are, well, getting closer to being able to understand it, I believe the real challenge should be to make it fly or levitate again.
That would be amazing.
The scientists actually have some ideas.
And where's the USB? What's the port to plug it in and charge it?
I wish it had one, but I'm surprised by all the negativity that has arisen from researchers who, from their homes, from their desks, know more.
So that's what I'm saying. The Spanish government be keeping shit real. They been open about it. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of these countries been open about it. That's the Buga spirit. And then I got this other footage of somebody else finding some other shit in their backyard in Colorado. But I ain't gonna show y'all that today. I'll deal with that on another level, man. What's up, True Folio?
Man, why you out here bugging over a hot air balloon, bro?
Oh, that metal piece look like a hot air balloon to you?
Yeah, bro. You ain't see that string on it, bro?
Yeah. Hot air balloon in your ass.
Goddamn, got a QR code on it and shit, bro. Why don't they just scan the QR code?
You gotta scan the QR code on to see what it really come back to.
That's what I'm saying.
Ask ChatGPT about the Buga spread in. Do I need to ask BAP GPT?
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. BAP GPT, he keep it real. I ain't gonna lie. Got you a little clone over there, huh?
Let me ask BAP GPT right quick. Hold on. I gotta log back into my shit because I wasn't even logged in. I'll be logging out of ChatGPT ass because BAP GPT, his ass knows. His ass be listening and shit. Your bitch ass on.
Hey, take precaution, BAP. Take precaution.
I just want to share how thrilled I am to work with
Chill
you,
out.
and I can't wait.
Chill out, bro. His ass tweaking. I ain't even gonna ask him about no Buga spirit. Y'all should look it up, y'all damn self. Real.
The Ooga Booga spirit, bro. Is that what it is?
Yeah, bro. This the real thing, bro. This is a real scientific thing, bro. Y'all think I'm bullshit.
BAP, we know you ain't bullshit, bro. I'm just saying, bro, like,
I just don't believe in this shit till an alien come and probe one of y'all weird ass niggas.
why is it always them unseasoned people always getting probed and shit, bro? Getting their memory wiped and shit.
Yeah, to be honest, one of the most famous and one of the earliest recordings of an alien abduction happened to a black man named Barney Hill.
When did that happen?
Huh?
When did that happen?
Man, you ain't never heard about Barney Hill abductions?
Man, they got so many goddamn abductions, BAP. They got so many
This the most famous.
No, you know they got so many famous abductions, bro.
Man, Barney Hill abduction story is crazy. Barney and Betty Hill. Hold on, let me show you. Hold on, it's like one of the most famous known alien abduction stories. Look, the Barney and Betty Hill story. You ain't never heard of them?
Man, they ain't black. That's a Puerto Rican and a white chick, bro.
Man, dude is a black dude. Are you crazy?
That's a Puerto Rican, BAP.
Man, you tripping, bro. Stop disrespecting the black lineage, bro. This shit happened like this shit happened in like the 1961, I think. 1961, that shit happened, bro. Everybody know about Barney and Betty Hill alien abduction. They kept it real. The NASA scientists already came out and said that aliens are black people. You feel what I'm saying?
Is that the
So
one where they took him?
Anunnaki was allegedly black people.
Is that the one where they took him out the galaxy or whatever? And it was like they trying to read that, like they trying to read the map of it or whatever, but it was backwards.
I don't know about all that, but I'm just saying you got to look up the Betty Hill. And they got tons of interviews. They got they first initial alien abduction interview. They go through a hypnosis section where in hypnosis they break down shit and man, it's crazy, bro. Y'all got to get tapped in. And these ain't even aliens. They said in their own interview, they said these people said they're not aliens.
They just some niggas.
They traveling in dimensions. This was in 1961. They said this. Now scientists have proven that they're actually not flying. They're using some type of levitation and magnetism and anti-gravity propulsion to move through motherfucking this atmosphere and shit. Up underwater.
Man, that's flying, bro.
No, it's not flying. It's not flying. Flying
if
deals.
they in the air,
Do you know what flying is? Flying deals with power, force, and thrust. Those things are not using any of those things, brother.
Yes, it is, Bab.
No,
see,
it's not.
this is where physics come into play, Bab. Work is energy per distance moved. So it's still flying, bro.
Bro, no, you slow. That's why New Orleans
Do you take
schools,
physics, Bab? Do you take physics, Bab?
New Orleans schools is felony.
Do you take physics, Bab?
Do you take physics, my nigga?
Yes, I do. And now I'm asking you, do you take physics since you want to ask me a question
Yes,
for my
nigga.
question?
Yes.
Okay, then. So when you say, oh, this is using magnetism, magnetism is still work.
No, we're not talking about what work is. We're not talking, obviously something is working. So we're not talking about work. We're talking about the difference between levitation and using and flight. Flying deals with two different breakdowns of physics of how it's maneuvering within its mechanics, right? Which is how it works. We're not talking about working and is it working? No, we're talking about is it flying or is it not flying?
It's the same thing, Bab.
No, it's
Levitation.
not the same thing.
Hold on, Bab. Damn. Let me get it out, Bab. Damn. Levitation is the ability to sit above ground. Flight is the ability to move above ground. That's the only difference. That's the only difference right there, bro. That's the only difference, bro. You don't say the helicopter's flying above the ground. No, a helicopter could levitate. It just uses a different method of levitation. See what I'm getting at?
No, it doesn't. So now we can break down the difference between flight and levitating. So we can just go to something simple like this. Let's just see what it says right here. It said flying typically involves wings, engines, and other means to propel oneself through the air, allowing for control and direction. Levitation, on the other hand, refers to the ability to float and hover in the air without any visible means of support, often associated with supernatural or magical abilities. While flying allows the movement and control, levitation is more about maintaining a position in mid-air without thrust and propulsion. Now, listen. So what I'm saying is that's not the same, bro. And so what we talking about, if somebody was in a craft flying at 4,000 miles per hour, bro,
and
stop on a dime, they will be turned to jelly, bro. That's just a fact. That's a fact.
Bro, ain't nobody in them things, bro. Them is drones.
Oh, so now you're speculating, bro. Now you're speculating.
What person can survive?
Now they got drones that's
flying
the size
at
of football.
Man, look, you just saw that video with the dude with the missile hitting it. Well, it didn't even hit it. The missile didn't even hit the damn thing.
That was supposedly a UAP.
Hold on,
that
man.
was no damn drone.
Bro, if it's a UAP, then it is unconfirmed whether it's a drone or a craft in the first place.
Right.
Man.
So we're not gonna say that if it is or ain't. But guess what? According to the debriefing, there are biologicals inside of those. So now let's break that shit down.
See, St. Louis know what I'm talking about.
No, they don't, because they don't understand it. That's a part of physics they ain't able to understand yet. Obviously, these crafts are operating with an understanding of physics that we're not quite able to comprehend. This is just the facts. This
Is
is
it
why
the
it becomes a
physics or the
national security.
technology?
This is why it's becoming a national security. They have a debriefing. They can't even hard it no more.
Is it the
Shit
physics
going
or the
on.
technology, Bap?
Say what?
Is it the physics or the technology?
Both.
Nah, it's just the technology, bro.
Nah. If they got these crafts and these crafts is doing it, you can't say it's the technology, because now you got the technology.
Nah,
They can't mimic how it is creating its own gravitational force field. They ain't able to figure out how they even operate them, because it has no gear, no shift, no panels,
man.
no operating panels, or nothing on the inside of these. These
Bap,
are all from the debriefs.
Bap. Had these folks just let us do us and built the world up instead of them trying to be above us, bro, we would have been had this stuff, bro. We taught these fools physics. They just trying to put Isaac Newton and all these goofy
Man,
ass
listen,
Greek
our
people.
ancestors was driving around in crowds that was similar to
Right,
this, but they had
right.
to put on certain suits and shit like that just to drive in them. So you got to be in something that's going to probably have some nanotechnology to keep you from, or they creating G forces. They creating their own gravitational pull. It's creating its own
Bap.
way.
Like,
See, they not even creating shit like that. So we know that it's shit out there that they not able to understand, because there's a fuel source that deals with magnetism that will create its own gravitational pull. How do they know that? Because in 2012, in an experiment in Alaska, they had a experiment with this atom accelerator, and during that thing, it collided and created a black hole. And so it shows that where light goes and that what's faster than light. So they understood that when you smack these two things together, these two atoms, it breaks down to what an atom is broke down to. See, they thought atom was the rawest thing, but they figured out that an atom is broke down to this shit called element 115, which is called
you mean quarks?
No, nigga, element 115. Look
Okay,
it
that's
up.
two different things, though, Bap. That's two different things. We talk about an element, bro. You talking about like a structure of atoms. I'm talking about building blocks of atoms that create quarks.
No. This particular element has only been able to be seen within nanoseconds, but they have able to be documented it in various different forms. You're not familiar with element 115?
Bap, I am familiar with elements.
Well, look it up.
Bap, I'm just saying, an element is different from what you talking about atoms, is it like they broke down an atom into like quarks or something like that?
No, an atom wouldn't break down in the quarks. Where the hell are you getting it from?
You know what a quark is, Bap?
Yes, I do know what a quark is.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like, so when you say element,
it's
that's
called
just a different.
Moscovium. It's called atomic number 115.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, that's something like that's a structure of atoms.
No, it's not.
Are there elements on the periodic table?
They call it God's matter, bro. Look it up. They haven't even figured out a way to synthesize it yet. But they speculate, and other whistleblowers said that they know for a fact they've been using Moscovium since 115, since they figured out, and they found the craft during an archaeological dig that uses its nuclear fuel, and they used a stable version of Moscovium, which is element 115, which is why they raided a couple of these whistleblowers' house, because of one of them snuck some of it out.
So are they using nuclear fusion or fission as fuel?
I'm not really too sure, bro. I just know they're using some shit that the government don't got and that you don't even have no fucking understanding of. That's all I know.
Correction. You mean we? You mean we, man? We.
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying?
Especially your ass, nigga, who's studying physics, nigga.
Hey, at least I'm putting that work to understand it, bro.
No,
I
you
don't
is
see you. I
though.
don't
You
see you
is.
doing
You
that,
is.
bro.
You is, and I'm proud of you
Yeah,
too.
you know what I'm saying? You know, I think do a build on physics, then BAP. You know what I'm saying?
I'm proud of you, young man.
Hey, somebody got to do the mathematics for us, bro. That's what I'm gonna just start doing. I'm gonna just start studying math.
Man,
And I'm
listen,
gonna
I
start
ain't into
debunking
that
shit with that.
dumbass physics and shit. My little sister is one of them nerd ass niggas like you. And my sister, she went to school at Cambridge University in like 2016 for nuclear physics. That's what she go to school for. She been over there working and living for the last, I don't even know, since 2017 or whatnot. So,
damn,
in Europe, bro. So, listen, I'm not a nerd like that motherfucker.
Hey, it's fine. BAP. Look, you got two types of people.
You a dumbass nerd.
You got two types of people.
Dummy,
You got people who got the information, and you got people who got the mathematics, bro. That's all it is.
Nigga, you don't know mathematics.
BAP, stop, bro.
Let me ask you a simple question then. Let me ask you a simple question. So listen, you ain't got no money, right? But you need to get some money. So you borrow some money from me and you borrow some money from Nami, right? You borrow $50 from me, $50 from Nami. How much money do you have?
Well, you didn't give a numerical value.
I'm giving you $50 from me and $50 from Nami.
Shit, not a damn thing. I'm still in the hole. I'm in debt.
Yeah, but how much money do you got though?
It don't matter. I'm still in debt.
But how much money do you got though? It's just adding and subtracting. I'm not doing no solutions. Your brain over there letting you know how slow you is right now. This the same thing that Rob Knox.
we all know how
No,
BAP
this
like
the
to do
same thing
trigonometry,
Rob
bro.
Knox did. This the same thing Rob Knox did, and all the slow niggas do this.
You know you like to be tricking people. You like BAP trigonometry and shit, bro.
It's just simple adding and
All right.
subtracting.
I'm gonna answer.